So what do you want to focus on this time?
Well, while working on other issues, I realized that there's something I've been kind of conscious about for a while, but I have no idea how to manage it. The moment a project goes in the right direction for a sufficiently long period of time, I completely lose interest. And it's for small projects or big projects, it doesn't matter. And it's complete loss of interest. And then I go into this one of two periods. I either push myself to keep working on it,
Mm.
and it becomes a drag. It becomes almost like
A chore.
yeah. Or I take my hands off it and say I'm delegating. And it's been my excuse, and I've done it in so many different ways with different people, different excuses, different projects, and I say it's the project is mature. I have somebody here ready to take over, and I'm just gonna let him take over. And I guess I don't even know if I do the follow up or something when I delegate, but it's clear that it's this. I don't know if destructive is the word I'm looking for, but it's bad. I don't know. It's bad.
So you're judgmental about it.
Yeah, I need to find what is wrong with it. So
You need to.
why it bothers me. No, why.
Okay. Can I shift the whole thing?
Yeah.
What is totally positive about this? And how can you improve it?
Okay, I have the answer to that because I had a shower thought a couple of days ago about it.
A shower thought?
Yeah, shower thoughts are almost as good as
no socks.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my shower thought was I was listening to this podcast and they were presenting a invitee, what do you call it? Guest. And they presented him as a serial entrepreneur. And it kind of hit me like this. It's like, I don't want to be a serial entrepreneur. Although if I would pick a profile for me, that would be it because that's where. But I feel there's not much. The way I looked at it before didn't bring very much value to. I mean, just doing a business, selling it, doing a business, selling it. It didn't bring value.
So you're confirming that you have reason not to answer my question?
No. Oh. I'm answering it. So the positive aspect of it. I need to put things in order. Wait a second.
Can I present it differently?
Yes, please.
Suppose you met somebody that was doing what you do.
Okay.
And you thought it was cool. There's huge potential in it. How would you validate it? And secondly, how would you coach him to do it better?
I would say first thing that it leaves space for people to grow. When you pull out of a project, you leave the space for people to grow, take over, get responsible about. So that would be how I would validate it. How I would coach him. I'm onto something. Just need a couple of seconds. Okay. I'm getting a kind of a fear, kind of a
Mm-hmm.
what I would whatever with myself with this. I would ask, how can you make this your job? How can you make a method out of creating something, then pulling out, following up? I don't know. You know,
Mm-hmm.
which kind of there's the image that constantly comes into my head, and the what sticks is that it's not. This might be crazy, but it's something I need to get out of my head. Um, it's not the movement from one flower to the other as much as it's the landing and getting,
Mm-hmm.
the moment you start and the moment you pull out.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah.
movement is not important,
Yeah.
although it's the most visible part.
Mm-hmm.
So I would ask, how can you really train on the way you land and take off projects,
Mm-hmm.
how you get involved, because there's not only about getting out. Now thinking about it, it's about getting back in.
Mm-hmm.
When I left for Mongol Rally and I came back in, I completely fucked
Mm-hmm.
everybody's
Yeah.
north. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I needed a month to repair what I fucked up in 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
So it's how can you train, get, like, picking up. And the freaking answer is what I'm doing now, because I'm in detail in one part of the business, and I already established a deadline for this. It's 15th of January, and that's when I need to start exiting it and
Mm-hmm.
think of the next.
Mm-hmm.
And that's answering. I'm answering your question about my question. So. How I would coach the guy would be, okay, can you exercise this,
Mm-hmm.
landing? And the answer would be, started doing it inside the company
Mm-hmm.
before first, going really into the detail of something, start learning it, and once you think you're done, how can you exit that and leave, and
Mm-hmm.
put somebody instead.
Yeah. So it sounds clear if I can synthesize. The problem is not being a serial entrepreneur. The problem is doing it well. And doing it well is structuring well so that you can delegate it well.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and starting small. Starting not small in terms of expected outcomes or anything, but
No,
small in terms of details.
details.
Yeah, minute,
Yeah.
going really into
That's
details.
the structuring part.
Yeah.
The structuring part needs to be very well done
Yeah.
and then really well turned over to somebody that's well chosen so you can leave.
Yeah,
And then at some point maybe come back, but same
Yeah.
thing, get in details in the right way, and then delegate well and leave again.
yeah. I'm thinking if I can forget something, so I need to jot it down. But no, I'm kind of clear about it. No, I'm clear.
I'm having this thought in that we were talking about inheritance before. and either rejecting it or accepting it.
Mm-hmm.
On this serial entrepreneurial dimension, what are you, in a way rejecting and need to accept and do better?
Good question. I need to explore before I answer the question because I don't have a clear answer, but my dad didn't fail because of his core business.
Mm-hmm.
He failed because of he didn't fail, but the businesses failed because of the other businesses.
Mm-hmm.
So it's another thing about the failure, and that's something for another session. But this thing about moving or not even moving, it's like expanding, like
Spreading out.
Yeah, spreading out. And it's that's what I don't want to do. I don't want to like have a lot of responsibility and a lot of control over a huge area. I would love to have a nucleus, a core team that kind of not even coordinates, as in supports and offers support to a kind of a network, or I don't know what.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm running away from in terms of inheritance is building this kind of hierarchical, classical kind of a spread, group. There was at one time it was the Batsy group.
Mm-hmm.
And it had like 10 companies. I don't want that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I want something really small that has a big impact, but not through supporting others, not through owning others.
I hear two things. One is you're saying I don't want it big, I want it smaller, and one is you're saying I don't want it hierarchical and control freak. I want it more biological.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want it to be solitary. I want it to be collective.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, have So there's a definite change that could be in style, in the way it's done.
Mm-hmm.
Could be as big, or it could be much smaller with a different style, or with the same style. So there's a number of things you're saying that are different, because sometimes you're talking about size, and sometimes you're talking about the quality of that size.
It may be a limiting belief I have that quality comes with, or doesn't, with size. The bigger you get, the less quality, you have. And I don't know if it's a limiting belief or it's an observation, but I'm tempted to keep it small and invest in quality. On the other hand, what I realize is that value comes statistically out of quantity. So it's whenever I want to have I'm hiring for a position. If I hire one man per position, or even two per position, chances to have a good one are small. And it's not only because it's statistically you only hire one, but it's when you hire one, you kind of hope you did well. If you hire from the beginning 5, you're losing 5 salaries, the number of months you're keeping all of them, but you're benchmarking a lot better. So you can see, it's not like, oh God, I hired that guy and I hope he's good. I hired 5 people, and I can see this one's really great. These 2 are lousy, so I don't even need another one. So that's where the quantity and quality where they meet and where they kind of confuse me.
It's kind of like don't put all your eggs in the same basket.
Yes, it is, and also don't have a lot of freaking baskets to take care of. That's where the confusion comes from, and I don't know. They could work in a network. Like we could build that. I mean, replace the ownership and control. You know, leverages or whatever, with this kind of a flow between, okay, I support you with whatever, with it, which is consultancy and my network and whatever, and you give me human resource kind of a network.
I don't know if we're moving forward or are you getting lost or
No.
how's it? What was your original issue?
My original issue was how to not move from one project to another. And now I'm realizing that I could focus on moving from one project to another, but focus on the method and how to do it really, really well. And I'm still confused about the quality and quantities.
I have a feeling, I'm not sure, which is quantity is when you're doing several things that are not connected.
Yeah.
And quality is when you're doing a lot of different things, they all have the same connection.
Yeah. Yeah. And that solves the serial entrepreneurs part. And yeah, because it's about the connection. Serial entrepreneur, for me, sounds like fast food. So there's no substance behind it. Where I'm doing businesses just because I'm addicted to do businesses or whatever it might. But if you do that with a, I wouldn't say call it a logic, but with a not a hidden agenda, but you know what I mean, with some substrates, with an ulterior motive, not just doing business, but educating people in a certain kind of a way, which I don't know yet. You know, now I realize that I've been avoiding this kind of a perspective because my brain would go, who the fuck are you to think that you would ever be able to, not ever, but you can say that you educate people or do businesses so you educate people. But if I were to like really define where I would want to be, for me it's clear that the best kind of education is do stuff. You know, the best type of learning you get when you do stuff.
In a way, as a serial entrepreneur, you're already educating in the sense that you're creating a space, almost like a school manager, a school investor. You're creating a space in which people educate themselves. Okay. So if you say, you know, who am I to say that I'm educating? In a way, well, yeah, you're not a teacher. You're not giving knowledge. On the other hand, you're creating a lot of spaces where people are growing, both in your business and in your hub. So in a way, you're an educational entrepreneur. In other words, you're creating architectures that are creating value.
Yes, and that's the link between them. That's my criteria. Because I always had this problem. I mean, how do I know where to invest and where not? And I'm not talking about money because I don't have money to invest yet, but I'm talking about time and energy and everything. And short answer is, do you educate? So a simple criteria is, does this business have the potential to educate in any kind of way? It's not about linking it to Batsy or to, it's about having this DNA inside it. Does it have the potential to grow people inside of it without any kind of obvious extra effort? Because in Batsy, there's no extra effort in educating the kids we're educating because we need them to help us around, and they learn by doing.
Yeah, and in Butsy, without the kids, it's what you do.
Yeah.
In other words, with your personnel and with the people, you're focused more on having it the learning organization, even if it's focused on cars.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's your common point.
Yeah, it is. Coming back to the previous issue is I don't feel I'm doing enough of it. I mean, yeah, sure, I declare that we want to strive to be a learning organization. I need to have patience because where I can do, I'm doing. So I already talked to you about the guy I want to send to you, and it's a freaking effort. It's an investment I'm making, and it's a clear step towards walking the talk. But I need to realize that it's growing. The business is slowly growing back from a hefty period. Hard period, and I can't start over investing in anything. So I need to take it slow. This is what I constantly need to remind myself of. That I need to take it slow. That everything that is not being seen now, it's a choice. Yeah. Because I know who to hire. If I wanted to spend that kind of a money and take this kind of a risk in this moment, I would know who to hire. I would know what training and coaching programs to access. I would know, I know what we have to do, and I would know that they give results because it's tested. But I'm not doing it yet because I need to take it slow. Yeah, I need to take it slow. Now, I'm clear now. And on the second issue also, on the issue of moving from one thing to another, I need to develop this kind of a reminder and to keep my balance, because there's the two extremes are either it's freaking easy, what do a couple of more hubs, delegate Batsy, start something else, and then reality happens, and you got physically a screw that won't unscrew at one car, and you go from that kind of everything is easy and we're gonna change the world in 10 years to that freaking screw won't not unscrew, and that blows my mind, and they're so extreme and so far away from each other. And that's one extreme. The second extreme is I'm not able. The screw is tight. That I cannot tie the screw, and I'm not able to.
The devil is in details.
Yeah.
On the same time is what keeps your feet on the ground.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's. I need to be in the details so my feet are on the ground, but I also need to keep the bigger picture. I mean, just
spend some time on the vision.
Yeah.
Once in a while.
Yeah. It doesn't even need to be like weekly. It could be every month or two.
Hmm.
I don't need more than that because I keep myself in the loop. I have like targets, daily targets, weekly targets. It keeps me
Yeah.
motivated. But every 2 months or so, I need to look a bit in front and see.
Yeah. My impression is when you get too much in the details, you kind of lose sight of the larger picture, and it sounds like you're doing a lot of different things that are separate. And when you look at the larger picture, you may see they all go in the same direction, and that's reassuring. So it's not a lot of details. It happens to be one big common, construction.
Really, really funny because as real as the connections are now, when I lose track of them, their the lack of connection is almost as real. And I don't know if it makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's like, while now I'm looking at the times where I didn't see the connections between them. I'm looking and I say, dude, you were like stupid. When I don't see the connections, I think back at the times I've seen the connections and I think, dude, you were like dreaming or whatever. There's no connections. You're like fantasizing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even feel the need to work on that because it's probably the way it's supposed to be. I mean, I need to be in check with both of them. I need to be.
It's like, you go back and forth, not being conscious of both all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And gradually you're building it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's it's like the pendulum, and probably at one time I'm gonna start having a smaller, whatever it is, between the two extremes.
Yeah, or you can say, in a way, it's two different models. One of them is the crazy serial entrepreneur, but there's no large coherency, and the other one is great coherency, but not really practical and, into the details and so on. So, what are those two models? And instead of rejecting one or the other, is saying they fit together. They're like the head and the feet. You need a body to hold them together, and
they each bring the value to the table. Yeah. It's integrating them. I need to meditate more or something. Because it is, when you see them from, you're not in the pattern, you're seeing the pattern. It's freaking clear.
Mm-hmm.
Very clear. Like if you don't see the pattern, if you're in the pattern, it's chaos.
Could you be doing some synthesizing on that by saying, okay, what's, the larger pictures and the details that need to be worked on? Or maybe that's from the previous coaching, the larger picture, putting it down will be helpful when you get lost in details.
Yeah, well, that's what I intend to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's put it visually,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where Serena could help. And really building a vision for hubs. At one point, for sure, it's gonna converge with Butsy.
Mm-hmm.
Then extracting what's, as you said, the DNA, which is education for both of them. And I will want to stop calling it education because it's not it's more about learning than education.
Mm-hmm.
And then whatever I lose it, I come back to that, and at least I have a better chance of regaining.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Yeah.